Hello, everybody. I did not expect to make this video, but I knew that one day it was gonna happen. I knew that one day I was gonna have to speak to people regarding what happened to me years ago, almost 30 years ago. It is an experience that lately I've thought about almost on a daily basis. It's an experience that has given me a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, I guess because I kept it all buried inside me. I do believe there comes a time from time to time when you have to stand up and tell, if not the world, but those who dare to listen, what is and what was and what will be. In a nutshell, this is an experience that I had which cannot be explained in the physical world that we live in. It was a supernatural experience. It is an experience I met the Creator. And I would like to believe that's who we call God. And I didn't talk about this experience for a very, very long time. Why did I not do so? Well, after the experience, I felt for a while a certain inner contentment, inner peace, that for unexplained reasons just intuitively told me not to talk about it. And I felt there was no need to talk about it. But over time, I guess, I gradually started acting as if this never happened. And for many years, and I think I'm still there right now, my life went into limbo. But as I grew older, I felt that I needed to let people know. But at the same time, I had this fear of being ridiculed because the world is a very unbelieving place. But I believe there's a time for everything. Now, looking at what's been happening within our society, especially in the West, perhaps this was the right time for me to tell people. And it also brings me to something that I want to talk about, which is knowledge acquisition. It is good and proper that we educate our children. We give them all the opportunities in life for them to be able to make sense of what happens around us, in the world we live in the universe we live in. So we learn, we acquire knowledge through formal education. We acquire knowledge through our environment that we observe, through observation. What we are taught within our families by our parents and friends. And we learn through experimentation and observation. And I guess through experience. And there is another form that even Albert Einstein mentioned, which is inspiration. It's that knowledge that just comes to you and you don't know how you got to know about it. It's true. It works. And especially in the sciences, it obeys natural law, natural phenomena. But going back to experience, our experiences differ, and they differ in many ways. And what I'm going to talk about today is my experience. But it is an experience of the supernatural. Now, what's happening in our world today, especially in the West, we want to be free. When you talk to young people today, they say, oh, we just want to be free. We want to be out of the matrix. You ask them what the matrix is, they probably don't have a clue what it is, most of the time. We believe that the ultimate goal of life is to enjoy ourselves, to achieve our selfish desires. I mean the desires of self. And to a large extent, to fulfill our debauched and hedonistic desires. For some, perhaps not for all. And we have redefined a lot of things. We have redefined what a man is, what a woman is. We now behaving as if we manifested everything that exists on planet Earth. Yet we didn't manifest even a single atom. Not even the atoms that run through our bodies. Not even the atoms that run through our minds. The minds that we use to believe that we're superior to everything else. We have put so much trust in science, and believe me, science is a good thing. But the knowledge that we have garnered from science, is not even a drop in the ocean compared to knowledge that exists. Knowledge that could be open to all of us. If we were only a little bit discerning, a little bit less selfish. We have used every element within the periodic table to create all sorts of tools. Tools like telescopes, tools like computers, tools like screw gauge micrometers, tools like, anything that we have here, we use something. But we did not create those elements. We found them here. Our knowledge is bound. And with our bounded knowledge, we create and observe things in a bounded reality. And when we observe things in our materialistic bounded reality, we then say we understand the unbounded infinity. There is an arrogance associated with that. It's almost akin to a fish drinking a tiny bit of water and believing that it understands everything that happens in the sea, in the ocean. There's a certain degree of arrogance associated with that. Now, the experience that I had, it happened a while ago whilst I was in Zimbabwe, in a little town called Kadoma. It started like a dream. But when it ended, it wasn't a dream, it was reality. Whilst I was there, the one night, I felt myself leaving my body. It did not hurt. I saw my body lying down there. I was floating above it. I did not have any sense of anxiety or depression or anything. I just felt content and happy. And then I found myself in weather instantly. And I was trying to get up to the heavens, struggling. Then I thought, oh, I've got the ability to float. Let me just float. So I started floating towards the heavens, up into the sky. And as I floated, I looked down on our planet Earth and I could see all the continents and the oceans. And as I was floating, I was going faster and faster. But unlike the acceleration that we have, where the rate of change of speed against time tends to decrease over time, this acted the other way around. It increased. The rate of change of speed increased exponentially. So I saw galaxies fly past me. Galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies. But as they flew past me, I was going faster and faster until I was so fast that I was no longer traveling. I was just appearing from one location to the next location almost instantaneously. And then I got to this one point where everything stopped, where there was light beyond any light that you have ever seen. I didn't have a physical body. There was peace and tranquility. There was no noise, no disturbances. There were entities that spoke to you with entire, complete knowledge. There was so much peace. There were none of the burdens of the world. No pride, no greed, no envy, no lust, no gluttony, no sloth, nothing. Just pure, unadulterated love. I have never known a place that is so quiet, yet so informing, so informative, whereby anything that you want to know, you know it in its complete entirety. You know knowledge from creation, which has always been, and the end of creation, which will always be. There's no beginning, there's no end, yet you know all that knowledge. The knowledge that we learn in school, that we spend years to become PhD holders, is knowledge that is less than a grain of sand if you were standing on a 15-kilometer beach. But yet that amount of knowledge, you know it in an instant. Any questions you have, they are answered even before we have asked the question. And all this knowledge, it came from love that you can never ever describe. That love was so powerful that it had the power to create, to bring things into existence. And when people read the Bible and they say God is love, that's about scratching the surface of what it is. As I walked, as I floated around, covered in this shiny blanket with no bottom, with no top or sides, but at the same time, covering you in its warmth and love. Where there's no need to sleep, to sit, to lie down, everything is the same. All there is this beautiful, beautiful, warm light, beautiful love, beyond any love that you can imagine. And I found myself in this one place, and I was looking at the source, the energy source of all creation that you could not face even without human eyes, because there are no human eyes there. But at the same time, it's not judgmental. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't. All it is love. And I am standing there looking at this in awe, not looking directly as you would do, but feeling in every sinew of my existence that this is where everything came from. This is the Lord. This is God. I began to wonder about my life, about how useless my life had been. But before I could even wonder, I was instructed to look to my left and right, of which I did. And instantly I knew there was Moses on my left. I knew there was Jesus Christ on my right. Time did not exist. Yesterday, tomorrow, 1,000 of years ago, thousands of years to come, everything was there at the same time. So, did I come back with some of the knowledge? Not in my brains, because it's not possible to fit that knowledge into a human brain. I do believe for us to get absolute knowledge, we have to get rid of the body, the material body that bounds us, and to get out of a material world that binds us. We are bound by the material world. And our thinking is very, very limited by the material world. It is only arrogance that allows us to debate and pretend that we know something. It is laughable that we do that, because we know absolutely nothing. But we can know something by accepting the fact that we do not know. There's a greater love, a greater source, greater energy, a greater God out there who has all the knowledge, the sum total of all the knowledge in existence, which is never ending. Then perhaps the door will open for us to know that knowledge, because as long as we have that pride the belief that we know everything, then there's nothing that we'll ever know. Nothing at all. And as I was standing there, I didn't want to leave. I did not want to go anywhere else. I wanted to stay there. Words are not spoken, but knowledge is imparted. I was told to go back and heal the world. And I'm still trying to figure out what healing the world is. But I guess the world is sick today. We have started to worship ourselves. That's kind of sickness. And I guess healing the world is just letting the people know the truth, that there's greater knowledge out there than the sum total of our knowledge here on this material world. And in spite of my internal protestations, I found myself floating back planet Earth, and as my shadow touched those who were sick, they all rose up and looked up in the sky towards the heavens. And I found myself in my body, awake, crying. And this I did not tell anybody. The following morning, I went to Harare, about 2.5 hours drive from, no, that's wrong, about 1.5 hours drive from Kadoma to Harare. And I was living in Kambuzuma at the time. And throughout that time going to Harare, I can't remember much. But what I remember was I was still in a sense of elation. And for 3 days whilst I was walking, I never felt the ground. My shoes, despite the fact that I was walking on dusty roads, they remained shiny without even a speck of dust. I remember for those 3 days as I was walking, people never looked me straight in the eye. People never walked towards me. They always walked out of my way. And each person who passed me, I could see their lives flash by them. I could see their history as if there was a TV screen above their heads that reported everything past and future regarding their life to me. And then after a few days, I think it was 3 days, my feet landed back on the ground. And I was back into the real world. I could not make head or tail of this experience. I could not understand it. So I chose to remain quiet. Over time, I told maybe 1 or 2 of my friends. This is the first time that I've made a video about it. You see, how do we know things? I could tell you 5 different events that took place, but I'm going to give you one. I used to date this girl and we broke up. Yes, her brother was in hospital at the time. And then I had a dream that the brother had been run over by a car. Now, where I lived was Kampuzuma, and across the other side was Warren Park. And in between Kampuzuma and Warren Park, there was a road that linked the two that passed through a really tiny little bridge. And the brother had been run over a car by that bridge, and she was there crying. Apparently, from what she tells me in the dream, he was coming from a beer drinking session from at a bar in Kampuzuma. So it's a Friday evening. I go there to see and say, "How's your brother?" He says, "Oh, he's fine. He's out of hospital now. It's all right. He's back to his naughty self." And I told her, "Look, I had this dream that he had been run over by the bridge down the road, and he was coming from a beer drinking session in Kampuzuma." And this was like around 7 p.m. when I told him. Then I went home. I came back the following morning on a Saturday, and I saw the maid. I said, where's she? The maid says, "Well, she's gone to a funeral." I said, "What funeral?" "Oh, her brother got run over by a truck by that bridge on the way to Kampuzuma last night, around midnight." "What was he doing by the bridge?" "Oh, he was coming from a beer drinking session in Kampuzuma." So this happened exactly the way I'd seen it 24 hours prior to the event. So was it destined to happen? How did I have knowledge of something that has not happened? Did I learn it? No. Did I experiment? No. But I had the knowledge. And means the knowledge had to come to me in one way or the other. That reminded me of when I was in this beautiful place that I mentioned, where yesterday, tomorrow, and everything, things happened at the same time. Perhaps there is a window that shows us what could happen. And depending on the choices that we make, certain things surely can happen. We can know things prior to them happening. We have no knowledge, but there's knowledge out there, full and complete knowledge, understanding and love. There's God. He has all the knowledge that we aspire to have.